From Port Moresby, we flew 900 kilometers northeast to New Ireland province and an island named Lihir. Lihir is one of the world's largest gold mines, but it's located on a relatively small island, an island in many ways similar to the geography back home in the Solomons. So we were curious and hopeful to come away with ideas and learning that we'd be able to take back home. The mine is situated on a geothermal active island, and the mine's engineers use this thermal energy to generate electricity, powering much of the processing plant and neighbouring communities. We headed into town to buy food and were immediately surprised by the contrast to the situation we'd just seen in Daru. A very well-stocked supermarket. We found the store manager to check if it was okay for us to video and asked him who owned the supermarket.
The supermarket is owned by a Landowner group. It's called Anitua Supermarket, and it's part of the Anitua group of companies that is 100% owned by the landowners. So we are we're just part of the group. We are on the retailing side. There is the mining services, there's Anitua Security, there's Anitua NCS, which is the national catering part of the operation, Anitua Construction. So it's a diversified group, that we can say that.
I imagine before the mine on Lihir, lots of people garden and fish, went fishing and those kind of things. Do people still do those kind of things?
The local people, maybe fishing for pleasure, yes, but for commercial purposes, no. They've got enough money to just live off the money, I guess. It is the outsiders that come in and they work the gardens and they do all the manual work, and also, to feed the people that live here. But, the people are well off.
Where does everything come from?
Virtually all over the world, really. Singapore, Hong Kong, Australia, and New Zealand. Mostly those four countries. Yeah, so we have frozen meat like lamb, chicken, etc. that comes started from overseas. This is our local bakery, and we do a night shift as well as a day shift. During the night we have crew that comes inside and they bake bread, and then basic bakery products, cake, birthday cakes, some of the fancy cakes, but mainly bread. We don't bake biscuits, we just bake bread only, and some of the easy products to make.
We asked the shopper, the wife of a mine worker, about the changes in the way that people now gain their food.
I'm a strong advocate for women in development, and I don't know whether you heard about this women in mining conferences held internationally and nationally. Lihir we were right behind the National Women in Mining Conference because of the experiences that we came across. Before we were great gardeners. But once the cash income started to flow in, like we were exposed to all these things, and then you are caught in between a full-time job, a family obligation, and also your role in the community. So with this experience, we feel that the women should be empowered more with knowledge on life skilling so that they balance themselves in between a full-time job and your role as a mother in the village or in the family, so that you are not exposed only to one side of development. And especially if your land is being taken away, that is when you need to be empowered more with skills right at the beginning, so that you don't lose track along the line. So when the mine finishes, you feel that your life or whatever that has come on is still there.
We were fascinated that the Landowner Association not only owned and operated the supermarket, but also many other businesses servicing the mine. We wanted to learn about this, so we went to meet with the financial manager, a consultant from Australia employed by the Landowner Association.
My name's Anthony Neck. I'm a chartered accountant. I'm the CFO for the Initua group of companies. Initua was set up under the IBP, which is the Integrated Benefits Package. That was negotiated with the miner way back in the 1990s when they first commenced work here. So that Initua was decreed as the commercial arm of Lihirians.
The landowner's business name, Initua, is a local language word meaning strength. The company was founded by enterprising landowners who realized the opportunity to engage with the miner as a business partner. The Initua Group now comprises 12 different service businesses and employs over 1,500 people on the island.
Initua, we do all the catering, camp management for the gold mine here. And NCS, which is a subsidiary of Initua, it has operations all over the country. It provides catering for the PNG Defence Force, university, and also we've got some joint ventures with some other landowners across the country. With going back to Initua, the holding company, we've got some subsidiaries on the island. We've got Initua Mining Services, which provides a whole lot of heavy equipment for the mine and operators. We've got a security company that is operating on Lihir and also on the other nearby islands in PNG as well. The main reason for our existence would be to engage in sustainability after the mine closes. Now it's 25 years before it will close, but it will close at some stage, and when that does, there will be a very significant impact on the local economy. So Initua has been set up to go further afield from Lihir with investments, so that when the mine does close, the impact won't be quite so much as it might be.
Lastly, we asked what advice he had for landowners in the Solomon Islands with regards to doing business with mining companies.
I'd say you certainly need to be united. If you're not united, you won't get there. So it's critically important that you're united, and you also understand, you get the advice that you might need to deal with mining companies, and be very clear what you really want out of the mine. The mine will extract all the ore, and at the end of the mine, you understand that there will be a big impact as well. So whilst that's happening, you need to be creating sustainable development. One thing you need to be careful, and it's only my observation, is your population growth. That's only one aspect I think you need to be careful of. I think on Lihir we've seen a population explosion since the mine's been here. So I don't know how you can control that, but it's just one issue you might want to think about.
The operators of the gold mine, Newcrest Mining Limited, generously agreed to meet with us and show us their operation.
Processing and something that's unique to
my name is Peter Aitzi. I'm the country manager for Newcrest Mining, and I'm based in Port Moresby, the capital of Papua New Guinea.
We started by asking Peter, drawing on his experience with large-scale developments in PNG and their relationship with landowner groups, what were some of the key mechanisms that had worked and others that hadn't?
Okay, look, generally, I mean, as you know, PNG has had a fairly long exposure to resource development and mining, particularly. We've had projects in Bougainville, we've had projects in Western Province, in Oktedi, in Porgera. So there is a history there in terms of these operations. Generally, there's the structures that deliver benefits to communities and is well established, but that has a tendency to have difficulties in terms of the management of the funds that flow through these mechanisms. both in terms of the landowner groups or organisations that are formed to receive these benefits, and also in terms of the government mechanisms that are really the deliverers of services with the revenues that are generated by these large-scale mining operations. So yes, my observations are that there is the well-structured benefits arrangements, but just the implementation and the management of the process is where I think that the largest work needs to be done to improve those arrangements. So I think the best way that is handled, and one that I think works reasonably well in PNG, is a good regulatory framework that operators can find some confidence in, but also that represents and protects the interest of the landowner communities that these operations are working with. So that would be the kind of I suppose the key area that I think would need to be put in place. Good regulatory framework. I think a well-resourced government agency that can work with the developer and the community to ensure issues such as environment are properly managed. The reality is, when you have large-scale resource development, there will be impact in the area of environment, impact in the area of social sort of disruption, and it's really how best a nation deals with this that will determine, the kind of maximum benefits that can be delivered to the various stakeholders.
Lastly, we asked, from the lessons learned from mining in PNG, what advice he had for the Solomon Islands.
My advice to the Solomons would be, look, as they engage in developing their resources, is really to ensure that each of those parties fully understand the kind of commitment that's required to maximise the benefits from their resources. So that what that means is that the government needs to be fully aware of the level of commitment that's required, the governance mechanisms that are going to be needed in order to protect this national wealth that they develop, and on the part of the landowner communities, to ensure that they are actually the ones in the driver's seat in terms of their own, I suppose, aspirations. So I know it's difficult in our traditional setting where we have various clans that perhaps may be rivals or may have conflict, but in these large-scale developments, in order for some sustainability to exist, these groups must work together, must choose to work together. And the lessons of groups such as Lamala is that they form a body which is able to properly represent the various clans, and by virtue of those arrangements they're able to then perhaps agree and negotiate the sharing of the benefits as a result of these structures that they can create. So I think the biggest advice I can give to the people of the Solomons is to ensure those arms, government and the landowners, are properly prepared to make the level of commitment required, and then are properly resourced in order for them to really ensure that they are ready for the kind of commitment that's required.
So that we could gain a better understanding of the developments the company was assisting communities with, we visited the local hospital. The hospital was set up primarily for the mine operators and their employees, but it also provides a free service to the communities.
Introducing you to our team from Solomon Islands. They are coming to visit us because they are interested in the work we are doing. So I introduce you to them. Yeah, I'm Dr. Oriol Mitja. I'm the Senior Medical Officer working for International Service, working in Lihir Medical Center. I'm an infectious disease physician specialized in tropical diseases, and my main role is to see patients on a referral basis and to make sure that we reach the standards of quality of Western hospital, doing supervision both of the clinical management of the patients and the public health program or project. Well, the mine has put money for two different projects. The first project is to provide the best health service to the community. This means that we are seeing patients that are coming both from the mine but also from all around the island, and our doors are open to everybody, providing diagnostic, management and treatment care for anyone that needs it. On the other hand, the mine is also doing an horizontal program, meaning that it's doing a community program to strengthen the services that are provided in the community. They do this by doing like a control of malaria, control of certain diseases, prevention of other diseases, programs of immunization, and also there is another stakeholder, another provider paid by the mine that are doing strengthening on aid post infrastructures or making sure that the chain of supply for other healthcare providers is effective. Probably we are one of the best hospitals in this area of Papua New Guinea. So we've got high standards of hygiene. We undergo audits both for our clinical management, also for our clinical governance. Our staff is highly skilled, and we are very well researched. We don't make mistakes on diagnosis or treatment, or we try our best. This means that we're probably one of the best hospitals in the northern Papua New Guinea islands, and the fact is that we are receiving referrals from all around the place, from outer islands, from Tanga, Mahur Island, from Namatanai, from New Ireland province. Yeah.
And has the money that's come from mining, the increase in people's wealth, has that caused any problems with health, with change in diet or anything like that?
Well, definitely. The mine has produced a lot of benefits. The initial burden of diseases in here was due to infectious diseases. This is communicable diseases. As soon as we started the program to control infectious diseases, the burden of these kind of infections decreased. And then the lifespan of the population increased at the same time. On the other hand, when you bring wealth, when you bring money inside the people, it's gonna change the diet habits, and there is gonna be a progressive increase in the number of communicable diseases. We're starting to see some of these non-communicable diseases, which are obesity, diabetes, hypertension, but it's not a serious problem yet. It could be in the future.
From the hospital, we were taken on a tour of the mine operation.
So this is the main processing control room.
The Lihir mine boasts a staff of about 5,000 employees, of whom more than 90% are from Papua New Guinea. In order to meet the demands of finding such a large workforce, the operation has a big training program with priority on training people from the island of Lihir.
Yeah, I'm Paul Ford. I'm the asset manager here on the island, so I look after all of the maintenance activities in the processing plant. Yeah, we have a large number of trainees. About 1 in 8 in the workforce is a trainee, and within my group there are 125 apprentices, so varying trades across the spectrum. We have a good setup here on the island with training. All of our training is done on the island, so we're fully self-sufficient, and we have the ability to pass guys out at trade level in a number of the key trades without them having to rely on any of the other training infrastructure within the country. So it's yeah, we've put a lot of effort into that, and we're starting to see the results of that with good quality guys coming in to fill roles that have been traditionally held by other Papua New Guineans within the country. And obviously with the boom that's going on in Papua New Guinea at the moment, getting good competent tradesmen is quite difficult. So that's part of our future here, is ensuring that we train enough people to sustain the business. A lot of these guys move on to other operations within Papua New Guinea, and some will eventually, I guess, go to Australia or anywhere else in the world where their skills are in demand. So,
to facilitate this training, the mine operates its own technical training college.
Yeah, the Lihir Trade Training Centre is a standalone facility that caters for a number of trades on the island, so it's totally self-sufficient. It's of the standard of a TAFE college in Australia, and probably better than some. The good thing about it is it's predominantly Papua New Guineans who are doing the training there, so all of the one-on-one training and the classroom training is done by our national trainers, and we've brought those people in from all over the country. There's guys from Bougainville, there's guys from Octedi there, predominantly people who've been in the mining industry, and they've come from other large operations that have successful training operations, but I think that's one of the things that we can be proud of here. I think we do a good job with training our people, and it's all Lihirians, so that's one of our agreements here, that we train Lihirian people, so all of the people that go through that training centre are Lihirians.
We asked Paul if he thought that a focus on training would be important for mining development in the Solomon Islands.
Certainly the training and education aspect of it is critically important to the success of any operation, so that's my advice, I guess, is to really have a plan in place before they start, so that they can make that a real value generator for the local community. And it's not just the development training that the guys will get once they enter the workforce, but also the general education standards that will benefit from that. So yeah, I think it's a good thing, and I think, you know, once again, it's one of those ongoing benefits from mining. If they do it right, then it's a big opportunity for the local area and for the greater country.
We've still got a bit more to go down in the Leonettes.
Our tour finished with a visit to the mine pit, the massive hole that has been dug into the island to search for the gold and other precious minerals.
You remember a custom place where water digging out this gold, and then, man, very surprising something now you may can look in here. As you may experience in logging, him to him bar spoiling place too, yeah, and spoiling relationship too. But this one, how me looking for how long, and then buy me goodbye. Yeah, so plan look at that. After this one, then buy what a move go man there. Then for kata something for come back, him look hard now. Him very hard for him come back. What am I doing what I? What am I doing for him come back or him not so back? Him very hard something. You need local people for doing for him come back low. Or him not so back him hard. Him by or him always for you know how many years by him or him always.
The Lihir landowners' unity and vision have meant that they had been able to achieve much out of the mine, but not without cost. The Alaya Rock is the most important sacred place to Lihirians. It is also right in the middle of the gold deposit. To learn more about this conflict between development and permanent loss of land and culture, we spoke with an elder from the relocated village.
My name is Sebastian Janasa. Me chairman, me mouseman, or I'm the elected chairman, or the man that speaks on behalf of the Kabit community. Me people pen inside long bell for me plan. That's what my people working on him. Me play stop him all long touch him. That's all only touch him finish. Now I'm sleep no good. I mean, look, there's a pity. We broke it all time. And look at me, we cry. All machine come, all machine. We don't have a whole person from machine. All money taking by people can all pass. No, if there's a man taking in that area, we can tell him to stop. But you can tell a machine to engine to stop. Because it's moving by force, the iron, So, only this one finish, that's all. Last time we play stop him. Not gonna touch him to the stop. My message would be, before they can they can allow a mine to be on their land, they must know that they are losing this area forever. They'll be buying a place block hole, picking in the block hole. Where they move out from the area, they must know that there'll be visitors. There'll become visitors on other lands. I'm now living on other people's land, even though on my own island, but I do not own the land that I'm living now. I got no freedom. So if they move out from the place to give way to the mine, at first there must be a proper plan to see that wherever they go must be properly secure. And wherever they live, whatever area, the land that they live will be lost forever. So we call it permanent loss. And they must be ready to create or to design a proper way to replace the area they're losing. And now beach, there's the white sand. The white sand been.
Sebastian then took us to the site where his village had formerly been.
I'm all ground, all bush, all waste up the bush, all storm long antaplo reef. This is the reef area, this is my beach now. This is our beach. So where has to come? Let's say here. It was once white, very white beach. Now it's dirty.
So everyone outside lo bush lo ya, and gardening, yeah.
Garden farming area.
Yeah. So every gardening area by
only destroyed.
All destroyed. Okay.
Now it is going up. This is our farming land.
Yeah.
Very fertile land. All will be destroyed, stockpile. That's where I said. That's what I'm talking about Solomon Islands. You don't. You stop not eating back long. When a plan go, they give long all ancestors play you. That is the plan. What we think today is not what is given, the given right from above, from God. God created everything with a purpose, and He's got a plan. So the future leaders of Solomon must be wise in thinking. Don't think about getting the money and enjoy yourself. No. You have to preserve the money and plan for your future. So we all share the benefits. Even though the mine goes, but the benefit is still there for the future generations.
Our time on Lihir was nearly up when at last we were able to get an interview with the current chairman of the Landowners Association, Peter Swa.
For me personally, as a leader within Lihir, I think we have a duty, and the duty is to make sure that the people of Lihir maximize the benefit of the project. And myself, I am from Konai village in the Nimamar local level government, and currently I'm the chairman of Lamala. Lamala is the Lihir Mining Area Landowners Association, which represent the mining affected area and also the non-affected areas, and basically cover the main island, Lihir, and the 3 outer islands as well. Before the mine came to Lihir, we were self-reliant, and at the time we have the beauty of the natural resources we have, and we do not depend on anybody because of our culture. And when the mine came to Lihir, that was the time that we do believe that was the outside influence came in and changed the mindset of the people. And at the time they begin to heavily rely on the 3 levels of governments to deliver basic services, and also the company. And we understand that if we continue to depend on the government and the company, then when the mine closes, we will be affected by the mine. And that is why we took a different approach, that the longer we sit and beg on our own land, it's not going to help. So we decided to to make a U-turn, and we put our hands up. And that is basically the importance of us traveling around the country to look for a sustainable model. We do understand if we don't put our hands up and we don't do something now, it will be us as well that we heavily contribute to the downfall of our future generation here on the island. And that is the importance that we took at the time. And the message that I would like to give to my fellow Solomon brothers and the people there is that while thinking of the mine, the first thing that they have to have in mind is firstly, united. They stand, divided, they fall. Because this is the natural principles that anything that is not united, it will fall at the end of the day. That's probably the most important thing. The second one is that it's good to accept development, but they have to be cautious of some importance that will eventually come in when the developer came in with the development. Like in the case of Lihir, when the mine came, people were thinking that because development will come, we will improve our living standard and this and this and that. But in actual fact, the developer is here to basically dict the goal and go. And that is why the message is that they have to put the mind and the heart to make sure that the people are well looked after, and it is the people that will make any changes, whether it be commercial or social. It is the people at the end of the day. That is why the most important project that the people of Solomon, if thinking of bringing in the development, they have to work on the people. The human resource is very important and it's paramount for development. And I think the message is clear. They have to first look at what the resources they have and use it for the benefit.
Our experience on Lihir Island, compared with the Fly River, was very different. Admittedly, they are two very different places, but it was obvious that the foresight of Lihir landowners to recognize that the mine would affect not only people in the mine lease area, but the entire island and its neighbors too, was fundamental to their success in gaining some real development out of the mine. With this lesson fresh in our minds, we set off for our next stop, Bougainville, where the dispute over mining wealth had provoked a brutal 10-year war.